Okay, so to continue on from the previous lesson, what we're going to do now is create a neck.touch bone, just like we did with the head.touch. So go ahead and switch to edit mode, just click on any joint over here, press the E key and extrude out another bone. Now go ahead and click on the body, press the Y key to sever all the connections. Go to the bone tab and uncheck this. Now click over here and you're going to type in neck.touch. So this bone again is going to be used by the user to rotate the neck. Okay, so again we're going to set this bone up the same way, give it a child just like we did to the head.touch bone, which was its tracker, right? So go ahead and click on this joint over here, press the E key to extrude and press the Y key, and you want to make sure that this bone also is aligned. Okay, now go ahead and click on the body of this bone, press the Y key to sever the connections, make sure that the deform is off, and now we're going to call this m.neck.touch.tracker, right? So again, this is just going to be a mechanical bone. So having this bone selected, press the shift key down and click on this neck.touch, and here you're just going to do Control P and do keep offset, right? So here now when you switch to pose mode, click on the neck.touch and press the R key. Of course the child is going to follow. So this bone is working in the same exact way as this bone, right? When you press the R key, the child moves, and here we're telling this bone to take advantage of that alignment and copy the transforms of this bone, basically half the values. So we're going to do the same thing again with this bone. We're going to go ahead and click on this middle bone over here, press the shift key down, click on this one, we shift Control C and do copy transforms. Okay, now you're going to have to click on this bone and go to the constraints tab. Now if you take a look at what's going on over here, the order is not correct, right? Because here we're getting the transform values of the head.touch, only half the values, then we're simply overriding again with the neck.touch. So we're going to move this up. Now you will see that this makes a lot more sense. Basically, when we are getting half the values over here, this empty space over here is going to be filled in by the neck.touch. So what exactly does this mean for us? So what this means is that when you click on the head.touch and press the R key to rotate, right, it of course is going to rotate the head, but the neck is also going to be rotated halfway, right? Because this bone is the parent of the neck bone, right? So if you click over here, press the R key just to align it kind of like this, you can see that this bone is not going to be aligned with the head.tracker because we're only giving it half the values. Okay, now click on this bone and do Alt R to reset the rotation. So now when you click on the neck.touch and press the R key, you can see that the same thing is happening, right? This bone, since it's only getting half the values of the neck tracker, it's not going to be aligned to it. Okay, so now when you click on the neck.touch, press the R key to rotate, right? You can see that it's basically rotating the neck and not the head. So the head stays perfectly still. Okay, so do Alt R to reset the rotation. Now what I want you to notice about this concept is that if you look at the influence values, basically if you ended up moving both bones at the same time, the influence value will be a value of 1, right? So notice that if we click on this bone, press the shift key down, click on this one, and now press the R key to rotate, you can see that wherever the head goes, the neck will follow, right? Notice that this bone is staying perfectly aligned because both bones are moving at the same time. Okay, so here we can go ahead and press the A key to select everything, do Alt R to reset the rotation. So what I'm showing you over here is that if you click on the head.touch bone, press the R key to rotate, this bone is not aligned with this bone. We would have to click on the neck.touch and press the R key and just kind of move it over here so to align this bone, right? So if both bones move at the same time, this bone is going to be aligned. Okay, so we're going to use this concept to our advantage to create an on and off feature. So go ahead and press the A key to select everything. Just do Alt R to reset the rotation. Okay, so now in order to create this special feature, what we're going to do is go ahead and switch to edit mode. Go ahead and click on a joint and press the E key, and I want you to extrude out a bone and just put it over here for now. So what we want to do is click on the body of this bone and press the Y key to sever the connections. Go to the bone tab and uncheck this, and over here you're going to type in M dot neck dot follow dot head, enter. Okay, now we want to align this bone with this bone. All you have to do is click on this bone first, press the shift key down, find the bone that you want to align to. Okay, select it. Now do Control Alt and A. So this bone is now aligned. So we're going to use this alignment to our advantage. Now here I'm going to zoom in. So the way we're going to do this is simply make the neck dot touch bone the child of this bone, right? Because the child can move independently. Okay, so what I want you to do is click on this, press the shape key down, click on this bone, and do Control P and do keep offset. Now go ahead and switch to pose mode. Okay, so here when you click on the neck dot touch, when you press the R key, it'll still work the way it used to, right? But when you click on its parent and press the R key, right, of course the parent is going to take the child with it, right, which is the neck dot touch, and the neck dot touch is going to take its tracker bone with it, which in turn, of course, this bone is going to move. Okay, now why did we do this? So if you click on this neck dot follow dot head, do Alt R to reset the rotation, you will notice that if we click on this bone and press the shift key down, click on this one, press the R key, here it gives us the ability to move the neck and the head bone at the same time. It's the same idea. It's just like moving these two bones, but here we're going to use parent-child relationships to do this. So to make this work, what you want to do is click over here, press the shift key down, click on this one, do shift control C, and here we're going to do copy transform, right? So now when you click on the head dot touch and press the R key, you will notice that this allows us to basically tell the neck to move with the head. And if we click over here on this bone, go to the bone constraints, if you turn off the influence, now when you click it, it's just going to work like before, right? The neck is going to rotate just a little bit. Okay, so how do we create an on and off feature? We're going to use drivers to do this. Okay, so the first thing that I want you to do is click on this bone, right click on the influence, do add a driver, and do manually create later. Now what we need to do is click on this bone and actually create a custom property, right? Because you've seen that when we were dealing with quaternions, we would have to right click and do copy data path, right? But what we need really is a value of 1 to work with that can go from 0 to 1. So go ahead and click on this bone and go to the bone tab, and over here you're going to see this custom properties. Go ahead and click on add. Click on edit. Now here you can see, because we only really want to deal with the value of 1, here is saying the property value is just going to be 1. Minimum is going to be 0 and max is going to be 1. Okay, and over here click this and type in neck space follow space head. Okay, and click on OK. Now when you have this bone selected, you will see that it's going to appear on this panel. So you can see that we can click over here, take this to 0 or 1. So we're going to inject this value into this influence. So you already know how to do this. Go ahead and open this up and go ahead and go to the graph editor and switch to drivers, and you have to click over here, open this up, go to drivers. Okay, now over here we want to work with a single property, right? And all we have to do is click on the armature, and that's it. So now we're going to click over here, and of course scroll all the way down. Now right click and do copy data path, right? Go ahead and click on this, hover a mouse over here, do Control V. Now notice what it's saying. It says pose bones head dot touch, neck follow head. Okay, so that's the influence that we want to inject into here. Okay, now over here you can call this anything that you want. Click over here and type in VAR and enter. Now you can go ahead and close this up. Okay, now notice that when we click over here and let's say put this to, let's say, a value of 5, click over here, you will notice that that's the value we're getting. Okay, so now we can turn this off and click on this bone and press the R key. So now the head is just going to rotate and the neck is going to rotate just a little bit. So just go ahead and do it this way. Okay, so now when you come in over here and say neck follow head, you can actually turn that feature on, right? Notice that how this is working. So now when you press the R key here, the neck is just going to follow the head, right? So you can see that drivers are very powerful that allow you to do these very interesting things when you're building the module-based system. Basically, it's giving you the ability to add these little features like this to create much more realistic human figure movements. So anyways, having this selected, go ahead and just turn this off over here. Now just press the A key to select everything, do Alt R to reset the rotation. Now press the A key to deselect. Now what we're going to do is create 2 additional bones to tie everything together. Now in order to understand this, go ahead and go to the Data tab, press the Shift key down and turn this layer on. Okay. Now what I want you to do is just click on this bone, the chest.upper. Okay. Now you'll notice that when we press the R key to rotate, of course the dev bones are going to rotate, but the module-based system is not traveling with it. So we have to make the module system travel whenever the chest bone moves. Okay. So to do this, first I want you to go ahead and only select on this layer over here and switch to edit mode. Go ahead and click on any joint and press the E key to extrude out a bone and press the Y key. Make sure that it's aligned like this. Go ahead and click this, press the Y key to sever the connections, go to the bone tab and make sure that this is unchecked. And here we're just going to call this M dot chest dot socket and enter. Okay, now what I want you to do is go back to this data tab, press the Shift key down and turn this on. Now we're never going to involve the dev bones with our module, but in this case we have to do it because we actually haven't created the module system for the chest. Later on we'll just reestablish the parent-child relationships. So for now I just want you to click on this bone, press the Shift key down, click on this one and do Control P. Here we're just setting up a temporary parent-child relationship. This is so when we switch to pose mode, click on this bone and press the R key, right? This bone is going to move. So we're going to use this bone to basically attach this module-based system to the chest again, okay? So go ahead and click this to Alt R to reset the rotation. Now go ahead and switch to edit mode. Now here we can simply just turn back only this layer. So go ahead and click again in this area, press the E key, press the Y key, and just bring out another bone. Remember, at any time you can click on the tail of this bone and make it a little bigger so you can see what's going on. Okay, so go ahead and click on the body of this bone, press the Y key to sever the connection, go to the bone tab and uncheck this, and over here what we're going to do is actually call this M dot neck dot socket. Okay, so this is the chest socket and this is the neck socket. Basically this is a socket joint. So what we're going to do over here is first go ahead and switch this to pose mode. Click over here, press the Shift key down, click on this one, do Shift Control C and do copy location. Okay, so basically wherever this bone goes, this bone is going to follow. Now to see this, you have to press the Shift key down and turn this back on. Click over here, press the R key. So you will notice that when we rotate this chest dot upper, wherever this bone is going with it, because it's the child, this bone is following it, right? So now we're going to basically tell this module-based system to follow this bone with parent-child relationships, okay? Go ahead and click this, do Alt-R to reset the rotation. So this is going to be pretty easy. Actually, go ahead and just click on this layer to make it a bit easier to understand. Switch to edit mode. So we know that wherever the parent goes, the child will follow. So here we can click on this head dot touch, press the shift key down, click on this, do Control P, right? And do keep offset. So now the head dot touch is the child of this bone. So wherever the parent goes, the child will follow. Now for the neck dot touch, its parent is this. So all we have to do is click on this one, press the shift key down, click on this one, and do Control P, and do keep offset. Okay. So now when you switch to pose mode, press the shift key down and turn this back on. Click over here and press the R key to rotate. You will see that the entire module moves. Now what's important over here is take a look at the behavior. If you click over here and press the R key 2 times, notice that the head stays perfectly still. Okay? So this means that we can add an additional feature over here to, let's say that if we click over here and press the R key to rotate, we can simply tell this bone to copy the transforms of this bone. See, press the R key. We can tell the head to follow the chest. Same exact technique that we used with this. Okay, so go ahead and click this, to Alt-R to reset the rotation. So here, in order to do this, let's take a look at this bone. Go to the Bone Constraints tab, and here we can see that we're getting a copy location. Okay, first we have to also get a copy scale. So go ahead and click this, press the shift key down, click on this one, do Shift Control C, and do copy scale. Now the reason we have to do this is because it has to do with the root bone. If you zoom out over here, go to the data tab over here, press the shift key down, enable the root. If you click on the root and press the S key, you can see that when we scale the root, the entire figure is going to scale. But if you go back to this bone and actually go to the constraints and turn off the scale, now over here, now when you go back to the root bone, click this, press the S key, you'll see that the head is not scaling. Okay, this is why we have to do this, because we're only copying the location, and we definitely want to make sure that we get the scale. We can just collapse these. Now we need a copy transforms from this guy. Go ahead and click this, press the shift key down, click on this one, do Shift Control C, and now just do copy transforms. Right, same exact idea. If the influence is at 0, if you click over here and press the R key, it will simply not follow the chest. But if you click over here and turn the influence to 1, if you click this, press the R key, here the head will follow the chest. Okay, so here all you want to do is right click over here, do Add Driver, manually create later. Of course, we're going to go back to the head bone, go to the Bone tab, and over here just create another property, and here click on Edit. Here just type in head follow chest, right? Value of 1, minimum is 0, max is 1, and just click OK. Now go ahead and click this, and over here you'll see head follow chest. Okay, here I'm going to right click and do copy data path. Go ahead and click this, go to the constraints, and this is purple. Go ahead and just open this up, go to the graph editor, go to drivers, click this, open this, go to drivers over here, and over here we're going to change this to single property. Click on the armature, go ahead and do Control V to paste it. Over here type in VAR and enter. Go ahead and close this up. Okay, so now when you click this, press the R key, it's going to, the head will follow the neck. If you click over here, turn this off, it will no longer follow it. Okay, okay, press the A key, do Alt R to reset the rotation, and go ahead and zoom in over here, and here we're going to save this file, do save as. We're going to save this as rigging lesson 3c.blib. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.